Thanks for joining us for CBN News Today. I'm Ephraim Graham. UN inspectors are in Syria today, and they're visiting the site of the alleged chemical weapons attack last week. They're seeking evidence of deadly poison as the U.S. and its allies continue to build a case for action. It's been 5 days since the suspected chemical weapons attack on rebels in Syria. Sunday, the Assad regime announced it would allow a UN team to look for evidence of an attack. But U.S. officials say their cooperation is, quote, too late to be credible.
The fact is that much of the evidence could have been destroyed by that artillery bombardment. Other evidence could have become degraded over the last few days, and other evidence could have been tampered with.
The hardening of the U.S. position comes as calls for military action grow. France, Britain, Israel, and some members of Congress are pushing for the U.S. to get involved.
This demonstrates yet again that we simply cannot allow the world's most dangerous regimes to acquire the world's most dangerous weapons. In the end, the extremists use these weapons.
You could destroy his munitions and you could destroy his fuel. You could even destroy the Syrian Air Force if we wanted to.
The world is a better place when the United States takes leadership. This is time for us to do this. I hope we will do it soon.
President Obama is still weighing his options, but in a sign the U.S. may be a step closer to an armed response, naval forces have been dispatched towards Syria's coastal waters. Meanwhile, countries like Russia remain skeptical that Syria was behind any chemical weapons attack. And Syrian President Bashar al-Assad continues to deny he did it. He warned any U.S. intervention would create a ball of fire that will inflame the Middle East and result in failure. Russia is warning against U.S. military action, saying a unilateral use of force would be a mistake. The trials of two regimes are underway in Egypt. Today, Egyptian courts heard separate cases, one against former President Hosni Mubarak and the other against top leaders of the Muslim Brotherhood. Both are facing charges in the deaths of protesters. Meanwhile, new protests against the Brotherhood by Egyptians in the U.S. In Washington state, they marched to show solidarity with Egyptian Christians being targeted by the Muslim Brotherhood.
We are enjoying the freedom of the United States, but our friends, our brothers and sisters in Egypt continue to suffer for no reason other than being Christians. The international community needs to know that the Muslim Brotherhood is a danger. Egypt is better off without it.
At least 60 Coptic churches have been torched or attacked by Islamists. Last week, hundreds of Christians and Muslims marched in Washington, D.C., protesting U.S. support of the Brotherhood. The sentencing phase gets underway this week in the trial of Fort Hood shooter Nidal Hasan. He was found guilty last week in the massacre on that Army base back in 2009. Hasan was convicted of 13 charges of premeditated murder and 32 charges of attempted murder. Hasan admitted to the killings and said he was an Islamic holy warrior fighting U.S. troops. He is eligible for the death penalty. A massive wildfire continues raging through the wilderness of the Yosemite National Park. The fire has consumed about 225 square miles of forest and is now threatening San Francisco's fresh water and power supply. Hundreds of firefighters are working to protect communities along its path. Officials say the blaze has slowed down a bit, but it is only 7% contained. Well, many Americans have been enjoying some early autumn weather the last few weeks, but don't celebrate just too soon because an extremely cold winter could be on the way. The Farmer's Almanac is using words like piercing cold and bitterly cold to describe the upcoming winter. And the 197-year-old publication is also predicting the Super Bowl could turn into a storm bowl. The Super Bowl will be outdoors in New Jersey, and the Almanac is predicting a blizzard in the Northeast around that time. The Almanac's predictions are based on planetary positions, sunspots, and lunar cycles. When an Ohio man came back to life after being dead for 45 minutes, word of his miraculous recovery made headlines around the world. Tony Yale's story has astounded the medical community and is turning skeptics into believers. CBN's Charlene Israel traveled to Ohio, where Yale is told her his faith is what kept him alive.
37-year-old Tony Yaley is thankful he could attend church with his family.
Feels great. I was always a believer, but I mean, it's a whole new level now.
In the early morning of August 5th, Tony had difficulty breathing and went into cardiac arrest.
It was 4 a.m. The Lord woke me up. There's no other explanation. I don't get up at 4 a.m. Something just woke me up, and I heard his breathing. And as a nurse, I knew it was not correct. I turned on the light, tried to wake him up. He wouldn't wake up. I took his pulse. He didn't have a pulse, so then I just went into my training and did CPR.
Tony was rushed to the ER at this hospital where he later coded. Doctors worked on him for 45 minutes to save his life. He was later pronounced dead. His family was shocked and heartbroken.
Like it just dropped and like my stomach dropped. I just didn't know how to feel. I just cried.
It was overwhelming shock, a lot of grief.
While nurses prepared the body for his family's final viewing, Melissa kept believing for the impossible.
My 17-year-old cousin, who is a preacher, laid his hand upon me, and the Lord spoke through him, and he called me his child. He said a whole lot more, which I don't remember, but he also said, if we would just believe that it would be done. And from that moment on, I knew he was going to be all right.
Pastor Paul Santoro and his wife Jennifer were at the hospital with Tony's family. Pastor Paul says he had recently been teaching on the power of prayer. The couple had also begun talking to Tony's 17-year-old son Lawrence about the things of God.
I distinctly remember watching him with his elbows on a desk. And he had his head down and he was praying. And then the word came in and the doctors came in and the place erupted with such grief. I'll never forget the sounds of the wailing, the screaming, the crying. And Lawrence jumped up and he went to the wall and he just hit the wall, just really hard. And I saw Lawrence as he was turned to the wall, shaking his head. Then all of a sudden, he straightened up and it was as if he just had this second wind.
Refusing to accept his father's death, Lawrence did something extraordinary.
Something just clicked, and I just came out and I said, Dad, you're not going to die today.
I spoke against the spirit of death in my prayer, and I asked the Lord to give him life and to call him back. And when I did that, Lawrence runs out into the hallway, and we were actually in agreement. He declared that the doctors must not give up hope on his dad. He said that a couple of times, and then he said that his dad, he spoke toward his dad and pointed toward his dad, and he said his dad would live.
Immediately, Tony's body began to show signs of life. He fully awakened 5 days later with no signs of heart damage or defects.
I mean, there's so many little things that need to get out there, miracles that happened after that big one that everybody's clinging to, you know. I mean, even down to, me coming out with no broken ribs, not being sore.
Hospital officials have no medical explanation for Tony's miraculous recovery. They agree there was divine intervention.
I truly think, though, that with the power of all that prayer and all the things that were being done for him is the perfect coalescence of God in our lives and the gifts that he gives us that we should be sharing.
News of his resurrection has spread around the world.
I just think that we are created by an amazing God, that there's only one answer, God.
People who doubt are going to say it's just medical. People who believe say that's just proof of what I already know to be true.
Tony says he doesn't remember anything about death, no white light, visions of heaven, and no answers why this happened. But he says his faith is stronger and more real than ever.
God steps in when man can do no more. And they had literally came to the end and said, we can do no more. They pronounced me dead, and that's when he came.
The family also want people to worship God, not the miracle.
Our God is an awesome God.
Charlene Israel, CBN News, Dayton, Ohio.
Coming up, he was booted out for being an ex-gay, but instead of looking for payback, see how Pastor Donnie McClurkin is offering a message of love.
Today we're on a field trip to discover what inflation is doing to our paper money. In this hand is a $20 bill, and in this hand is a $20 U.S. gold coin. They used to have the same buying power, but how much can they buy today? And this first basket is what my $20 bill buys: milk, bread, peanut butter, and jelly. And here's what one $20 gold coin will buy: 6 baskets full, worth nearly $2,000, almost 100 times more food, simply by owning gold dollars instead of paper dollars. History shows that the gold coins have been the best way to beat the rising cost of living. So class, the moral is that unless you want to live on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the future, you should turn some paper dollars into gold coins now. How and why is explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. Call the number below for a totally free copy. And that's the simple truth.
Help! If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was. Help! And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
Events continue this week, marking the 50th anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous I Have a Dream speech. This weekend, tens of thousands gathered on the National Mall to hear speeches with a strong theme of unfinished business. U.S. Congressman John Lewis, the only surviving speaker from the 1963 march, rallied against a recent Supreme Court decision against the Voting Rights Act. Speakers also mentioned high unemployment among blacks, which is twice that of white Americans. There was another massive celebration of unity this weekend, this one in New York, led by Donnie McClurkin, the gospel recording artist who found himself uninvited to an earlier celebration of Dr. King's speech. Thousands answered Donnie McClurkin's annual call to New York City. It's the 10th year for the worship experience, designed to unite people of all denominations.
Jesus made the statement, he said, the house that's divided against its own self won't be able to stand. We've gained the commerciality of religion, but we've lost the power and the zeal. And we don't fellowship. It's quite often that you'll find that pastors really don't fellowship unless they're trying to do something political.
This year's conference comes on the heels of some unexpected political controversy for the New York pastor. Just weeks ago, the Washington, D.C. mayor's office withdrew its invitation for the gospel artist to perform at a concert, honoring the 50th anniversary of the Martin Luther King Jr. I Have a Dream speech.
I was very good and very personal friends with Coretta Scott King for years.
Still, the mayor's office withdrew its invitation because of protests from members of the gay community, in objection to McClurkin's longtime testimony of being delivered from homosexuality. McClurkin's answer to the protests? Love.
And I don't speak evil about the sin at all. I speak the truth, that sin is not of God, and it's not right, and God didn't call us to sin. But as far as the people, no matter who you are, no matter who you love, I'm not gonna bash you. I'm gonna love on you, and I'm gonna continue to show you the love, even if you never change. Because love is not love if it's conditional.
He even had a chance to demonstrate that love. In the middle of all the DC uproar, a gay man approached him for prayer at a New York hotel.
I said, you don't know what I think about this at all. You know what I think, James? I think God is in love with James. I think God loves James, and I think I love James too. And he just cried in my arms, prayed again, let him go. And I went upstairs in my room and said, God, you are so ironic.
He loves you as you are. And this weekend, the pastor shared that same message of God's love to thousands.
the call of ministry is so strong, and it's such an honor. I don't want to commercialize it. I don't want it to be something that's slicked down and made palatable to the people. I want it to be in its raw essence, its raw form. I want it to reach the masses with the love of Jesus Christ. Pure, unconditional, raw.
At least 7,000 people attended the New York call. The pastor has also seen significant support on social media following that uproar in D.C. And some of that support came from the gay and lesbian community. Up next, he may be clean-shaven, but he's still part of the Duck Dynasty. We'll talk with the latest addition to America's top show just ahead.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
Well, by now you've probably heard of Duck Dynasty, the show about a Louisiana family that makes duck calls for a living. It keeps breaking ratings records, and this season you may have noticed another brother who doesn't quite look the part. Alan Robertson is a pastor, and he sees the show and the duck calling business as his new ministry. Jennifer Wishon brings us the story from West Monroe, Louisiana.
Today, Duck Commander, the family business made famous by hit reality show Duck Dynasty, is more of an empire.
Phil says, do not hunt, do not sell one until you'll hunt with it. So that's what we do.
Did you hunt with that one?
I would hunt with that one.
But in the beginning,
that was the original Duck Commander shed.
Phil Robertson made each duck call right here in the family's backwoods, Louisiana backyard. And as the oldest son, Alan served as one of his dad's first employees.
So we made everything in there, and then there used to be an old bandsaw out back, and I used to, cut calls in half, and I was little, I was 12 years old. There was a saw. I mean, OSHA would, we didn't know who OSHA was in those days. See these nails here? We used to hang duck calls on these nails.
Although he's the oldest brother, fans of Duck Dynasty probably didn't know he existed until now.
Your best man is going to give you the ring. So
Alan debuted on the show's season 4 premiere to a record-breaking audience. Nearly 12 million people watched, making it the largest audience ever for a nonfiction show on cable. Alan jokes he's responsible for the ratings, but in the Robertson family, all glory goes to God.
If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal.
The day after the record-breaking premiere, 30 Duck Commander employees voluntarily showed up for work an hour early to take part in a weekly devotion led by Alan, including Duck Dynasty funny man John Godwin.
Thank you so much for the cross and your grace and your mercy.
Alan preached about God's love.
Without love, we're in serious trouble, right?
It's something he knows well. Before rejoining Duck Commander a year ago, Alan pastored this church for more than 20 years. But as a young man, he never dreamed he'd become a minister.
So my high school years were just terrible, and it was all secret life, running around, drinking and cutting up. So I was one of those, the worst possible place. I was hiding in plain sight. I was in the church, but I wasn't a Christian, and I wasn't living for Christ.
He left home for New Orleans, where he found more trouble. Trouble so bad, it scared him straight. He returned home to West Monroe and made a commitment to Christ. His father, Phil, baptized him in this river behind their house, a body of water Alan estimates the Robertson men have used to baptize at least 1,000 others. Now, most weekends, he and his dad travel the country together, preaching the gospel.
I call us, the feather and the sledgehammer. I come in and kind of get people laughing. I get their tickle bone, because I'm kind of a humor guy. And then Dad comes in with a sledgehammer, boom. This is what God has done for you. This is what our nation needs, boom, boom, boom.
At Duck Commander headquarters, Alan shares an office with his wife, Lisa, who also works for the business. The couple's daughters and their husbands do too. Each day, hundreds of requests come in for a family member to speak or appear at an event.
We're on the telephone. We're working schedules.
They also greet fans.
Y'all ready? 1, 2, 3.
This couple drove in from California. And now that Alan and Lisa will be appearing on Duck Dynasty, they can expect a lot more attention.
They know what they're getting into because they've seen it with the brothers. But I think they are still going to be shocked whenever, everywhere they go, people know who they are.
Alan's just a natural fit anyway. He's such a people person, keep us grounded and keep everybody else grounded.
I really feel like God has prepared us for such a moment as this. And when America needs some family to say, hey, we can make mistakes, we can come from nothing, we can have all these things now, but ultimately none of it matters except that we're saved. We're going to be in heaven forever with Christ.
And Kay always says, too, that she said that whenever she prays, she says, if the money or the fame or anything ever takes us away from Christ, then take it all away and leave us with nothing, because when we're at nothing, we've got everything with Christ.
Alan's brothers have made unruly facial hair fashionable.
One writer said that you were an overplucked duck.
Yeah. I get all kind of analogies,
Yeah, so I guess, will we see a beard on Alan, or is this the PR face of Duck Commander?
Yeah, well, that's what I figure. I figure you need to know what they look like underneath. So a lot of times I'll go out in a crowd and I'll say, what about if I did this? And they're like, oh, that's more like it, because they get that vision up. They can tell I belong, to the family. I don't want to get stuck with that look. Are you kidding me?
And I like it better like this.
Yeah.
When there's things crawling out of your beard, or, whenever you've got food left from lunch or dinner, I don't know, that just kind of grosses me out.
But don't be fooled by Alan's smooth face. He loves the outdoors as much as his rugged-looking brothers. Deep in the Robertsons' 1,000 acres of hunting land, he couldn't wait to show us one of the family's nearly 80 duck blinds.
We saw more of the world's problems in a duck blind than any other place.
Unlike the solitude of deer hunting, Alan likes hunting ducks because he gets to cut up while catching his dinner.
It's like all this adrenaline surge, and everybody's up and pow, 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 boom, 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 boom. Then we see what we got, and then Si starts claiming everybody's ducks.
Both Alan and Lisa took a leap of faith leaving their church, but they see their new role with the popular family business and reality show as a new worldwide ministry.
To have a great church is good, but there is people out there that's not ever going to darken the doors that we have here. And they may not ever darken the doors of any church building. And so if we can give them a little taste of Christianity, a little taste of God, but in a fun way, to tell them that just because you are a Christian does not mean that you can't have loads of fun and laugh all the time.
Enjoy life.
And enjoy, just enjoy what God's given you.
Because, we're all fairly young. If God gives us a lot more years on the earth, who knows, where we're going to go from there in terms of what we're able to do.
Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, West Monroe, Louisiana.
When you're driving along and your cell phone rings, do your eyes instantly go off the road? Then you need to get a grip. Hi, David Jones here with the new Grip Go, the most versatile hands-free mount that will instantly grip any phone for safe driving. Just attach the suction cup to your windshield or dash, and Grip Go grabs your phone ultra fast. Then it peels right off. And don't worry, there's no sticky residue left behind. The 360-degree pivoting mount allows you to always get the perfect viewing angle. It's even strong enough to grab and hold this expensive smartphone out the window. Yet it comes right off with ease. That's the advantage of Grip Go. You can get the amazing Grip Go with dashboard mount for only $14.95. We'll send you a second kit free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Get 2 complete Grip Go systems for just $14.95.
To order Grip Go for $14.95 plus processing and handling, call 1-800-709-5259 or order online at getgripgo.com.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Well, for many, pets are an important member of the family. One Indiana woman found out firsthand when her dog was stolen 5 years ago. Now, thanks to a microchip and the help of some volunteers, she's been reunited with her 4-legged friend. A few weeks ago, Jen Kazan got a call she never expected. Someone had turned her dog Sasha in, but not anywhere close to her Indiana home. The Rottweiler was several states away in Phoenix, Arizona.
I don't know where she's been or who she's been with or, what she's been through. I just hope that, whoever had her gave her a good life. I never thought I was ever going to see her again. I thought about her all of the time. I always wondered about her. I wondered what happened to her. Nothing short of a miracle.
After Kazan was tracked down by using Sasha's microchip, volunteers helped reunite the owner and her dog. 26 volunteers drove portions of the cross-country trip from Phoenix to Indiana to drop Sasha off. Good to be back home with Mom for sure. Well, that is going to do it for CBN News today. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Have a marvelous Monday, everybody.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.